Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
Up and delivered a perfect Sunday afternoon for Reds baseball as the Reds wrap up this homestand and this series against the Milwaukee Brewers, and it's all right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Reds baseball. Jim Kelch along with Chris Welsh. It is the rubber game of this three-game series. A big victory for Milwaukee Friday. The Reds bounced back yesterday, and they did it, Chris, in a ballpark that loved to see the home run ball fly, and the Reds made it happen with 4 of them in yesterday's game.
Recently, Jim, we really haven't seen too much in the way of home runs, but it came last night early and often. A home run explosion out of the Reds offense last night. 4 of them, if you want to count them up, we're going to show them to you. Ludwig gets his first one of the year, a screamer down the left field line. 14 hits overall, and with 7 different players getting a couple of hits each, that's a balanced kind of offense. And what you really want is some production from the bottom and the top of the lineup, and I was really happy to see that last night.
Now, one of those who hit the home run last night was Zach Cozart, and this guy is having a heck of a homestand.
Now, this is what I'm talking about in balance. I mean, Zach Cozart has hit just about everywhere in the lineup. Dusty Baker's put him in the number 2 spot. He's been down the number 8 spot. He's down the lower part of the lineup right now. And sometimes when you're down there, you can kind of sneak up on the pitcher just a little bit. And Zach Cozart swinging the bat hot in his homestand. A home run, 7 runs batted in. That gives the Reds a little more balance up and down throughout the order.
Now, already a month ago, still in the season, he already has a career high in RBIs. Now, Brandon Phillips, his numbers slowly but surely coming around starting June 1.
Well, he wasn't doing too much in June, but here in August, he has gotten hot, hit a home run the other night to dead center field. When the Reds win, that is a big number for Brandon Phillips. A 292 hitter, 12 home runs. So obviously, when you've got 2 guys in Chu and Votto who are leading the league in on-base percentage ahead of him, you need Brandon swinging a big bat. Hopefully this continues.
Well, today in the wrap-up of this series, we found out last night that Tony Cingrani goes on the disabled list with a bad back, and so Greg Reynolds makes his second start with the Cincinnati Reds. That first one in San Francisco didn't go as well as he'd like. I'm sure today he's hoping for much better things. As we go into this Sunday, August the 25th, you can see things are getting a little tighter. Pittsburgh lost last night at San Francisco. Cardinals won at home against Atlanta. Reds won here. So those two teams, the Pirates or Cardinals, tied atop the Central Division. The Reds just 2.5 games back and pushing hard to get to the top of the NL Central. It is, as I mentioned, a picture-perfect day, not a cloud to be seen anywhere in the sky here above Great American Ballpark. And for more detail on the weather, brought to you by your Tri-State Orthopedics, here's Scott Dimick from WKRC Channel 12.
Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Scott Dimick. First pitch temperature at GABP today, 83 for the seventh inning stretch. We're up to 87. 88 is where we'll be for the final out. We'll be sunny to mostly sunny as the Reds hopefully beat the Brewers. Enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, thank you, Scott. On the mound today, Chris, for the Reds, Greg Reynolds, one of the best that the IL had to offer this year.
You're not kidding about that. Just look at his minor league numbers this year. He won 12 for Louisville. He's only lost 3. His earned run average is around 2.2. That's what he did here in the major leagues, his first start against the Giants. You can pretty much throw that right out the window. A lot of nerves there. He had his family back in Northern California where he's from. I expect him to throw more of a Greg Reynolds game, which is a lot of sinkers, changeups, curveballs, and so on. Very much like what Marco Estrada is going to bring the Reds. He's kind of an emergency starter for the Brewers. He's had 15 starts so far this year. He's a guy that had about 24 starts last year, but kind of a garden variety right-hander. This ought to be a pretty good day to settle in the batter's box and make this guy throw it over the plate and see what they can do with it.
Well, the rubber game of this series, if the Reds can get it, they will win this series and complete a 7-game homestand at 5-2. All that on the line here this afternoon. Was brought to you by the Ford F-Series trucks, a best-selling truck in America, 36 straight years. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. A lot of folks still coming into the ballpark. Big crowds Friday and Saturday. Another big one expected today. Reds will be gone for a week. After today's game, they'll travel to St. Louis for 3 and then out to Colorado for 3 with an off day in the middle of all that. Final game of this series pits the Brewers and the Reds. Ron Renicke's Milwaukee Ball Club lines up like this today. Scooter Gennett will lead off. Aoki gets the day off. Segura number 2, Lucroy number 3, Ramirez, Gomez, and Davis in the middle of the lineup. Caleb Guindo had the pinch hit home run last night, his 7th. Juan Francisco 8th. Marco Estrada 9th against the Reds right-hander Greg Reynolds.
These are the numbers for Greg down in AAA for the Bats. 23 starts, 12-3, 2.4 earned run average, and you just hope that those numbers can translate some way to major leagues. He's not an overpowering pitcher. He once was when he was a first-round draft pick for the Rockies, but now he's learned to pitch with a little bit less than a really overpowering fastball. Good breaking ball, good changeup. They got those a lot of strikes. Good opportunity for Greg Reynolds right here this afternoon.
He'll get Scooter Gennett, left-handed hitting second baseman, to lead things off on this Sunday afternoon. 85 degrees game time temperature here at Great American Ballpark. Gennett starts the game at .323 with 5 home runs. He's driven in 14. In the game last night, hitting out of the 7th spot, he was 0 for 2. That ended a 7-game hitting streak for Gennett. He has hit in 14 of his last 16. Frazier cheats in at third, and Gennett leads off this game with a solid single into center field. So he's now hit in 8 of his last 9, and that's the way this one gets going. Take a look at the Reds defensively. Brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Paul gets the start in left. Chu in center. Bruce back out in right after the day off yesterday. Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, Votto third to first. Reynolds caught by Devin Mesoraco. Corky Miller, who made the start behind the plate when Reynolds started that game out in San Francisco on July the 23rd. That was the game, of course. Not only was it the second game of the doubleheader, but it was that reverse game where it was the makeup game from the rain out here on the 4th of July. So even though the game was being played in San Francisco and the stats went down as road stats, the Reds were the home team on the scoreboard, wore the home jerseys, and hit second, meaning in the bottom of the inning. Reds wearing their familiar red tops on day games here at Great American. Gene Segura batting second, takes ball 1 outside, hitting .304, dozen home runs, 44 runs batted in. He has really hurt the Reds this year, although not in this series. 1 for 8 in this series, but Segura came in hitting .360 against the Reds prior to the start of this 3-game get-together on Friday. Has not been hitting the ball very well as of late at all. Just 5 hits in his last 30 ABs. And above 300 really all year. Trying to stay that way here in the final, what amounts to just over a month worth of baseball. Reds have, counting today, 32 games remaining. And it's 2-0. Greg Reynolds closed with a flurry down at Louisville. He had 5 starts, his last 5 starts dating back to the middle of July, all quality starts. And while only 2 of them were wins, you got to remember he was pitching on a team that set a franchise record for 12 consecutive losses until he won at Rochester on the 20th of August.
Yeah, he pitched a 9-inning complete game in that ball game to be able to get it done.
Slowly hit to short. Cozart to Phillips, out, and that's the only play. Forced at second base is Scooter Gennett. You make an interesting point earlier, Chris, about Reynolds used to be a hard thrower, a strikeout guy, and he kind of says he found out that I just can't do it that way. I'm getting tired of watching balls sail out of the ballpark.
Well, not anymore anyway. I mean, he was drafted by the Colorado Rockies in 2006. He was the second player taken in the draft behind Clayton Kershaw. So that's the kind of company, at least as an amateur, that he has been selected with. He was a hard thrower even with the Rockies, but then he had shoulder problems. And in 2007, he had shoulder surgery. There was some thought that maybe the Rockies rushed him back after that shoulder surgery. But he's had to re-teach himself and adjust how to pitch. But he's 6'7". He throws a downward plane. He's got sinking fastball. And when you kind of put the numbers up that he did at AAA, why not give him a shot?
He faces Jonathan Lucroy now.
I mean, if you have a pitcher down there like Reynolds, who's 12-3, great earned run average, one of the best pitchers in the league, an all-star this year in AAA, and you call up somebody else Well, it kind of sends a message to the rest of your minor leagues that what you do down here as far as performance doesn't matter. We're going to like our guys, and we're going to overlook you. And that's not what the Reds did right here. They took the best possible option, and that's why he's out here today. This is a very important ball game for the Reds. You don't want to lose a series of the Brewers at home this late in the year.
Well, the 12 wins that Reynolds amassed at Louisville, second in the International League. That 2.42 ERA, also second best in that league. 156 in the third innings, also number 2 amongst IL pitchers.
Well, the big thing for him is to get out of this first inning. I mean, once you get out of the first inning, you kind of get your sea legs under you, you get your rhythm going, your confidence is up. Maybe your team scores you a couple of runs here in the bottom of the first. But until he gets out of this inning, he'll be thinking, well, you know what, I got to make a perfect pitch right here. Here I am in the middle of the lineup. I've seen Jonathan Lucroy take a roll to Chapman deep on TV. I don't want that to happen to me. These are the things that go through your mind until you get through that first frame.
2-1 as Ted Barrett, home plate umpire, calls that one a strike. He's also the crew chief. Lucroy at 285 with 17 homers. He's driven in 66. In this series, 1 hit, 9 at bats. Nobody in the lineup today for Milwaukee has faced Greg Reynolds at the big league level before. In fact, the only player on this Milwaukee club on the active roster that has faced Reynolds is Tom Gorzelani, the pitcher, who has a hit against him in his only AB.
Well, that's in the major leagues.
Right.
In the minor leagues, there have been a couple. In fact, Caleb Gindel, who's in the lineup, has faced and done pretty well against Reynolds. But the interesting thing is he didn't even know it. They brought it up. They brought up some matchups, and they said, hey, Caleb, do you know that you're 4 for 9 against a starter? He goes, who started? He goes, I can't even remember the guy. And they're afraid of players stealing signs.
They can't even remember who they face. Runner going. Not a play by Lucroy. Gene Segura at first base leads the league in stolen bases with 38. He surpassed Everett Cabrera of San Diego, who will not play again this year due to the suspension. Right after the All-Star break, a little bit after that, with a performance-enhancing drug situation. Votto holds him over there. Segura. Aramis Ramirez waits on deck. See if Segura figures to be on the move again over there at first. He is. Fair ball into foul ground. Frazier comes up throwing, out at first, back to third, safe there. Gene Segura just kept on motoring right around second base and just does get into third ahead of the throw from Votto.
You know, he won't get a stolen base for this, but this kid shows himself to be a little dynamo. I mean, he's going to hold up right here, watch Frazier, and as soon as that ball goes to first base, he's going to bet that Joey Votto can't catch and throw it all the way back before he gets there. And that's the kind of play where you don't really have a statistical category for that, but that's a smart little play right there.
Yeah, that's called heads-up baseball, isn't it?
And Votto has one of the better throwing arms for a first baseman around the league. There are some first basemen that would just have stuck that ball right in their back pocket.
Yeah, the Reds didn't mess that play up at all. Frazier made a perfect throw. Votto's throw across back to third was perfect. Segura just simply beat it there. But he's 90 feet away with 2 out. Aramis Ramirez, third baseman, cleanup hitter. Starts the game at 260, 7 homers. He's driven in 31. Injury-plagued year for this veteran, Aramis Ramirez. Twice on the disabled list, once with a sprained knee, once with a left patellar tendonitis issue. Down the line, deep for Frazier, sets up and throws a strike across the diamond to Votto. Nicely done by Todd Frazier, and hanging a 0 in the top of the first is Greg Reynolds. To hit the lead off the game, but gets the next 3 batters, and so now the Reds will come up here in the bottom of number 1, and Dusty Baker will put out this lineup card. Chu, Frazier, and Votto, Phillips, Bruce, and Mesoraco, Paul, Cozart, and Reynolds against a right-hander, Marco Estrada.
5-4 on the year, Estrada. The Reds have seen him before, and he's pitched some good games for the Brewers. Last few times out hadn't been too bad, except his last time out. That was when he pitched against the Cardinals and got knocked around. In fact, the Cardinals have knocked him around both times he's faced them recently. 15 games overall, fastball, curveball, changeup. Fastball goes anywhere from 87 to 89 miles an hour, not overpowering, kind of a garden variety right-hander, if you will.
He has spent basically 2 months this year on the disabled list. He delivers to Shin-Soo Choo to get the Reds' first inning started. Went on the DL to Estrada early in June with a left hamstring strain, and just when he was ready to come off near the end of June and throwing on the side, he injured his back, and so he spent basically another 5 weeks on the DL before finally being activated and starting again on the 7th of August at San Francisco. Chu at 278, 16 homers, driven in 40, was hitless last night. In fact, he is hitless in this series. So he did walk twice in yesterday's game, giving him a career high now, 84 walks.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good idea on the changeup, Estrada does, and he's fooled Chu twice in this at bat. Both strikes have been changeups.
He pulls this 2-2 into right, and a good start for Chu and the Reds. Into right field where Caleb Gindel gets it back in. Nice start for Chu, a base hit into right.
Well, the good thing about this at bat from the standpoint of Chu is that he saw a lot of pitches. This is pitch number 5 in the at bat. He saw really nothing but fastballs and changeups, and after 2 consecutive off-speed pitches, Estrada tries to sneak it by him. Chu quick enough to get to it.
So it's Todd Frazier now. Frazier, like Bruce, had the day off yesterday. Jack Hanahan played at third base, did a nice job going 2 for 4 and scoring a run, and now Frazier is back in there at 234, 13 homers, driven in 57.
Well, didn't you get the feel that there's a little bit of extra energy in this ballpark today? I mean, just kind of walking around, maybe on the concourse before the game. People are having fun here this homestand.
Now they understand the importance of these games, and while there are, counting today, 32 remain. He's talking about, well, one game isn't any bigger than the other. Every game where the Reds are situated right now is a big, big game for this club.
There's a big crowd here today. Yeah. It's just fun. It's a great place to be.
Loses the bat, does Frazier. Missed the ball.
Oh, we might have a season record right there.
And right on the line as well.
That's probably, what, about 123 feet?
He doesn't
Keeps it
lose
close
anything.
to the line to make it easy on the Russian judge to make a determination how to get that.
And there's no subtraction for being away from the line on that throw at all.
Yeah.
Batting gloves, pine tar, rosin, dirt. How in the heck do you lose the bat?
Finger pressure.
There's an interesting split right there now. Frazier home and away this year. Frazier had a pair of hits in the game here on Friday night. Single his first time up, single his last time up. And he makes Estrada, the 30-year-old native of Mexico, work here to the number 2 hitter in the lineup. Native of Mexico, but he attended college at Long Beach State. 6th round pick by the Nationals back in 2005. Estrada has made a couple of rehab starts this year since he was on the disabled list. One at Class A, one at AAA. As Chris mentioned, the 3 starts that he has made since he's come back, the first 2 were very good. That last time out, 4 runs, 8 hits, 6 innings against St. Louis. But those 2 road starts at San Francisco, at Texas, very solid.
Not really sure what you're going to get from him.
Frazier in the air to right center field, chasing it down. Gomez, he's going to get it. Hustling back to first is Chu. Long run by Carlos Gomez, but he hauls it in right in front of the 370 mark.
Now, Frazier hit it pretty well, and he was thinking maybe that ball's going to fall in there. He splits the seam, but against a lot of center fielders, that may have had a better chance than against Carlos Gomez. He can really flag him down.
All-star for the first time this year, Carlos Gomez. He retires Frazier, so now here's Votto. Votto got into the long ball fun last night. He hit his 19th of the year. It came in the 7th inning, a leadoff shot against Michael Gonzalez. Lefty home run for him last night. His 8th against a left-hander. Went 2 for 5. 6th in the league at .314. Break there by Chu, inadvertent. Estrada did not throw over. Here's Votto's home run last night.
That was impressive because the at bat before Votto was called out on strikes and showed a little bit of emotion in the dugout. And it's just like he stepped to the plate with a little different resolve and said, you know what, you're not getting me out. First pitch he saw that he could drive, he ends up hitting it into the seats.
He has a home run career-wise against Estrada. Chu is going, pitch a strike, throw bounces away, and Chu has the stolen base. That is his 15th of the year.
Well, they were about ready to ring him up right there. That was a pretty good throw by Lucroy, but it was bobbled or dropped or maybe got there exactly same time as the runner did and knocked him right out of his glove. Segura just couldn't hold on to it. Chu's been thrown out 10 times, and that is his 15th stolen base.
15 this year, 100 in his career with that steal. 21 a year ago, 22 is a career high for him. And that was a couple of years ago, 2010. So congratulations to Chu. Stolen base career-wise, number 100. Couple of chances now to take the early lead in this game for the Red Legs. Final good numbers with runners in scoring position. Now he's at 3-1. Joey this year, .318. Second only to Brandon Phillips on this club in terms of batting average, runners in scoring position. He gets a look at a 3-1 pitch here. Votto sitting on 60 now, 60 runs batted in. Trying to salve Estrada here in the first. Chu going to third, ball 4, throw bounces away again, and Chu gets the steal of third, and that's 2 times. Look at Votto go now. That ball stood there, rolled away, nobody chased it. Good hustle by Votto. He ends up at second base. That is heads-up play by Joey Votto.
Now, you're not kidding about that. Votto saw the opportunity when Aramis Ramirez went down. He obviously hurt his hand because the ball and Chu got to third base at the same time. And he got the ball, but he got it knocked out of his glove by the sliding Chu. And then he maybe got rolled over on his ankle a little bit. So he's going to sit there and worry about his ankle. The ball, meanwhile, is still in play. And it looks like his foot got caught up with Shin-Soo Choo. Gotta love that hustle by Joey Votto.
You know, on the throw to second with Chu running, and that throw, the ball beat him there. Both times the ball just kind of bounced away. Reds catch a little break. Second and third now with one out for Phillips. Take a look at our IGS Bringing the Energy feature for today, highlighting Brandon Phillips' strength in hitting with runners on base. We've been talking about this a lot this series. 320 with runners on. Runners in scoring position, even better, 360. He's in the top 10 in the league at number 7 in that department. Line drive to center field, caught. Chu will tag, but then come back. The throw is way offline. Now gets away. Here comes Chu. Will he get in there? He is not. He is out. He did not slide. For some reason, Mr. Chu did not slide at the plate, and he is tagged out. And it ends up being a double play anyway, and the Reds fail in the bottom of the first. Go Cubs and take advantage of the Reds 4 for $48 offer presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Purchase 4 view level tickets for only $48. Receive 4 vouchers, each good for a free B-Dub sampler platter, which includes nachos, onion rings, mozzarella sticks, and boneless wings. To score this blazing hot deal, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. What a wild way to end the bottom of the first inning. And all sorts of action there.
And it started with a line drive to center field by Brandon Phillips, and the throw from Gomez gets way wide and gets by the catcher Lucroy. Meanwhile, the pitcher is there, and he flips it over to Lucroy, and they get the out. Now, the odd thing about it is why Chu didn't slide. If he slides, he may have been safe. Don't know that for certain, but it just looks odd when you don't. You know, there are certain truisms in baseball. One is throw first pitch strikes. Another is don't make your first or third out of third base. And maybe the most true of all that you hear when you're a kid is when in doubt, slide. And he looked very disappointed when they put the tag on him. I think he was surprised to see the ball in the glove of the catcher when he got there.
And Lucroy was standing up full, and a slide would have taken Chu way under where the ball was, which is about waist high. Meanwhile, Gomez here is clipped by that pitch, and so for the second inning in a row, the Brewers have the leadoff man on. Well, you see some things that you haven't seen in a while. Two of them in the first inning there. Back to the stretch goes Greg Reynolds. He gets Chris Davis. Well, Davis has spent most of this year in the minor leagues at AAA. These two would not have faced each other, been in different AAA leagues. Davis with 8 home runs, 18 RBIs with the big league club this year. And half of those totals, 4 homers, 9 runs batted in against the Reds.
He seems to be a guy that has very good pitch recognition for a youngster. Like on that very last pitch you saw right there, tempted but didn't pull the trigger. It was a pitcher's pitch.
Jammed there, and a foul ball.
Little run on that fastball. He's finding out something about Greg Reynolds.
There are the numbers by Davis against the Reds.
And that would be the reason why Dusty Baker has remarked about Davis, that he's the best young player to come up in the major leagues that he has seen this year.
Davis only 25.
I mean, when you're hitting .529 against a certain team, you're going to get that kind of an accolade.
Of years in the minor leagues for Davis until he made this club out of spring training this year.
Yeah, they had a tremendous spring training. Had a lot of home runs.
Bruce chasing the ball, slicing away from the Reds right fielder, and he can't get it. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, you brought it up the other day, Jim Kelch, about the potential problems, the numbers problems that the Brewers would have next year if Ryan Braun comes back, plays for the Brewers. You got him in left field. You got Davis right now in left. You have Carlos Gomez. He's situated pretty well in center field. I'm not sure of Aoki's contract status. I think he's got 1 more year on his deal. Got Corey Hart, who's playing first base, wants to come back. I believe he's a free agent, but they're hoping to bring him back. You got to find a place for Davis. I mean, if he is as legit as he has shown against the Reds, you got to find a spot for this young man somewhere.
And I guess you could say the same thing regarding Scooter Gennett and the Ricky Weeks situation out at second base. The Weeks also is owed a lot of money for next season. Chu reads it, comes in on this ball, makes the catch, and that's the first out in the top of the second. You and I ate breakfast this morning and entertained by the Hall of Famer Bob Ueckert. He was telling story after story after story.
Every bit as funny as he is in the movies. I mean, just what a great guy.
One of those guys you can sit there and just listen to and laugh, and he's not even trying to be funny.
You're right.
He's just telling story here, story there, story about this guy, story about that subject. He and Marty sit down together to eat. You really need to charge to be sitting at that table. It's so funny.
Yeah, you really ought to have a tape recorder running. You know, George Grant tells a great story about Euchre when he was inducted to the Hall of Fame. Normally, when the inductees go up and they start giving their speech, the other Hall of Famers that are up on the stage saying, "Come on, hurry up, let's get through this thing," because it's hot and they're ready to go. With Euchre, his induction speech was so funny, they wanted him to continue on.
I do not find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I believe him. You heard some of them before, and even if you hear them over and over again, they're very entertaining.
You feel the same way when you're in the presence of Vin Scully and he's telling stories about whatever it might be? You're just in awe. Good to see that voice of the Dodgers will be back next year for his 65th year behind the microphone. Vin Scully of the Dodgers.
What an amazing man. Hey, pretty good pitch right there by Greg Reynolds, right in on Gindel. We told you that Gindel had faced Reynolds 9 times in the minor leagues and he's 4 for 9, but he didn't know that. I would imagine that Greg Reynolds probably knows that. Pitchers have a tendency to remember that stuff more than hitters. Hitters are facing so many different pitchers, but pitchers kind of remember guys that where they made mistakes, gave up base hits, especially if they were ones that hurt the result of the ball game.
Gindel cracks this ball to right. He's had 2 at-bats in this ballpark in his career, and both have been home runs. He had the pinch hit home run last night, and he gets the 2-run homer here, and it's 2-0 Brewers. Gindel's had some big home runs for this club, that's for sure. A walk-off in the 13th inning, his first big league home run back in late July against Miami. The pinch hit home run last night, and now this one.
This is a previous pitch. You're trying to get him inside. A little cut fastball right there from Greg Reynolds. This time he's going to go in there again, but he gets it down. And when you get it down like that, the left-handers, that's their wheelhouse. And he hits it to the short porch in right field, and a 2-0 ball game.
Reynolds gave up but 6 home runs in 156 and a third innings this year.
That's really stingy with home runs. I mean, he rarely gives them up that way. You know, 2 things he rarely does down the minor leagues, Reynolds. One is give up home runs. The other is walk people.
Right.
In fact, he only had 3 walks total in his last 4 ball games, and all 3 of those came in 1 game.
Now he works to Francisco with the bases clear. He's ahead of him 1-2. This would seem to be a good matchup for Reynolds with Francisco up there.
Why you say that?
In terms of not being a fastball pitcher against a guy who loves to hit the fastball. And Francisco is out on strikes for out number 2.
Good observation. I get the feeling that Francisco comes up there sometimes and he says, you know, he tells himself, you're going to swing at this pitch, period. Doesn't matter where it is, what it is. And he's one of those guys not afraid to giving the opposing pitcher the extra bonus of getting a strikeout. Some guys don't like the strikeout. They'd rather hit a ground ball to the second baseman than a strikeout. Why give the pitcher something extra? But some hitters don't feel like that anymore.
Good observation right there. You come up with that on your own?
No. Stole that from a former Red who told it to me just the other day.
You know a good line when you steal one.
Yeah.
One and one to Estrada, 2 out, bases clear. Caleb Gindel, 2-run homer, has given the Brewers the early 2-0 lead. Brewers have jumped out in front in each of the games of this series. They get a run in the 3rd inning Friday and led 1-0 and route to a 6-4 win. They get 2 in the 2nd inning yesterday. Reds came back and won 6-3, and they've scored at least 2 here in the 2nd this afternoon. Estrada strikes out, 2 of them in the inning for Reynolds, but 2-run homer by Caleb Gindel, his 3rd of the year. Brewers lead 2-0. McCoy has to say as the Reds wrap up this series against the Brewers. Keep up to date with what the Pirates and the Cardinals are doing each day in the rival watch section. And Kevin Goheen writes that Bengals cornerback Dre Kirkpatrick will need to learn from last night's rough game down in Dallas against the Cowboys. FoxSportsOhio.com has complete coverage from all of today's action involving Ohio sports. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. 2-0 Brewers. We go to the bottom of the second. Here the Brewers defensively, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Davis, Gomez, Gindel in the outfield. Ramirez, Segura, Jeanette, Francisco infield. Estrada and Lucroy make up the Milwaukee battery on this Sunday afternoon. Reds had a chance in the first. Should have really taken the lead. Some crazy plays. Ball bouncing out of the glove at second, bouncing out of the glove at third, giving Chu a multi-steal game. 16 now on the year, 101 in his career. Ball bounced away at third when Chu was going over there. Great hustle by Votto, got him all the way down to second via a walk. And then Chu eventually tagged out at the plate on the line drive to center by Phillips. Ball bounced away. He doesn't slide. He gets tagged out. Through all that, a 0 in the bottom of the first.
You know, you really look back on it and Chu's inning. He really should have been out 3 times.
Yes.
Should have been out at second. Could have or should have been out at third. The ball beat him there if Aramis Ramirez was able to catch it and tag him. And, of course, he was out at home.
So here's Jay Bruce. Sat out for only the second time this year. In yesterday's game, he had made 90 consecutive starts. Chris Heisey played right field yesterday. Acquitted himself very well. One of 7 Reds players that had a multi-hit game. 7 players had 2 hits apiece yesterday for the 14 total. Bruce takes strike 3, and he is out of there against Estrada here in the second. Today's rough August continues. Counting today, 6 games remain in the month of August. Reds have guaranteed themselves a plus 500 record for the month with the win last night. They're 14-7 in August. Mesoraco at 254 with 8 long ones. He's driven in 35. First appearance for him in this series. Ryan Hannigan caught both Friday and Saturday. Caught Bailey on Friday. Caught Arroyo yesterday. Here's Mesoraco doing the catching today. Mesoraco went up the ladder to get that ball and fouls it. And Ramirez over in front of the Brewer dugout handles it for out number 2. Remember, Reds fans, if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during this afternoon's game, Sergeant Sean Fraley of the U.S. Air Force from Fairborn, Ohio, a proud owner of a 2012 Sienna, will win this beautiful new Tundra that's been on display all year long here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by visiting your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. 2 up, 2 down for Xavier Paul. Dusty asked about playing Paul today after the big night that Ryan Ludwig had last night. 2 for 4 with his first home run. 3rd multi-hit game since his return from the DL, all against Milwaukee, and he said, hey, I have to keep Paul sharp, just like yesterday. I had to keep Heisey and Hanahan sharp. Said a month ago in the year, everybody's got to be ready to go. Said they can't be truly ready unless they get in there and get some playing time. So Paul in there today. First start for him during this homestand. He pops it up. Same spot, Ramirez. And down in order to go the Reds in the bottom of the second. We head to the third. Brewers up 2-0.
There's so much, extra things that went along with that outing. This will be a little bit different. I'm definitely a little more comfortable with the guys here, and I expect that I'll be a little more calm, and there's not the, all the extra stuff off the field that I'll be worrying about.
Right-hander Greg Reynolds. Today's storyline brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. He gave up a 2-spot in the second on the home run ball by Caleb Gindel. He gets the top of the order here. Scooter Gennett led off the game with a solid single into center against Reynolds. Frazier again, a step in on the grass at third. Gennett now 4 for 7 in the series with a home run. And 11 for 26. Over 400 against the Reds this year. Right back to the mound, and Reynolds will make this play. And out number 1. So for the first time in 3, Reynolds gets the leadoff man. Now you take a look at the upcoming Reds schedule with Cingrani going on the disabled list, but retroactive to 4 days ago, the 21st. The Reds have the day off coming up on Thursday, and you think, well, will they or will they not potentially skip this spot in the rotation and move ahead without that spot? They could conceivably do that one time, but because of no other day off, one way or another, Reynolds is going to have, or somebody's going to have to make one more start before Cingrani comes off. Cingrani is eligible in the final game of that series here against St. Louis on the 5th of September.
Well, I think they did the right thing in not trying to push Cingrani today, because then you have a temptation, to push him, and maybe he's a guy that says, hey, I can gut this out. Meanwhile, he does a little more damage, and then he doesn't pitch as well as you think, and now you wear your bullpen out because you got to go get him early in the game and so on.
Brandon can't come up with that ball, and a one-out single for Gene Segura.
So that's why all eyes are on Greg Reynolds right here. I mean, this is an opportunity for him not to get one start, but maybe two starts. Kind of feel comfortable, not only just to start in the major leagues. I mean, a lot of guys come up at the end of the year in September. They get a couple of starts here and there. They get their feet wet. But this is in the middle of a pennant race in games, as you said, over and over. And we all agree these are very important ball games. The swing game in a 3-game series at home before you go on a week-long road trip that starts in St. Louis. This is a big game.
Well, if you stay on rotation, Reynolds would start again in the second game of that series out in Denver against the Rockies next Saturday, a week from yesterday. If you decide to skip his spot the next time around, and you could do that because of the off day Thursday, that would put Reynolds in line, or someone in line, to make the start in the second game of the series here against St. Louis. And they would probably figure to want to have him work against Colorado versus the Cardinals.
Well, you know what we really haven't seen from Dusty Baker over the years is manipulating the starting rotation so that you set guys up for certain teams.
Correct.
The Cardinals would do that over and over again, especially when Tony La Russa was managing. It always seemed like the Reds were going to face the top 3 in the rotation, starting off with Chris Carpenter when they would come to town. But you don't see a lot of that manipulation. I think the thought is that they want to keep these guys on their same schedule.
Runner going. Throw there. Perfect job by Devin Mesoraco. Throw taken by Cozart. I mean, that was a dead-on bullet to gun down the league leader in steals.
He got a pretty big jump right there, too. You can see him really off to the races by the time Reynolds delivers it. But this throw right on the money. Picked a good pitch to throw a runner out on, and Segura reaching for the bag is thwarted.
Well, his throwing, talking about Mesoraco, has really improved. So wipe away the league leader in thefts in Segura on a 2-6 caught stealing. Lucroy bats with the bases empty. Here's you talk about skipping pitchers. It was the Cubs earlier this month who were complaining that both the Cardinals and the Pirates skipped their #1 pitcher to line them up against another team so as to not pitch against the Cubs, and they were upset about that.
Well, they should be more upset by taking a look at the standings than worry about who's pitching against them. Maybe if they were a different spot in the standings, they wouldn't be manipulating pitching staffs to miss them rather than go after them. You know, they've been doing this for years and years. I mean, generations. You know, you've seen pitching staffs be manipulated as far as who's going to pitch against who. This is nothing new. I kind of read that and chuckled a little bit and moved on.
Yeah, win more and that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Right now the Cubs are 21 games back. What do they expect?
And like players who are in the minor leagues who are complaining about this situation and that situation, other players tell them play better. You don't have to worry about that. Lucroy draws the first walk of the game issued by Reynolds, and now it's Aramis Ramirez. Bounced out on a nice play by Frazier his first time. Now he's in the hole, 2 strikes.
It looks like what the Reds are trying to do to Ramirez, and pitchers have tried to do this for a long time, is just to get him reach for the ball. Show it inside and then go back out away, low and away with off-speed stuff. Make him reach for it a little bit. Where he is really dangerous when you try to go outside, you leave it outer third and up. good spot right there. You saw Mesoraco kind of coaxing Reynolds right before that pitch. You know, showing his hands, pushing him down to the ground. I want it down. Don't miss up. I want it down. And he threw it in a perfect spot that way. And at that time, and Ramirez barely, watch him right here. Just that little movement of the glove right there. So I want it down. That's it.
Scoreboard watching today. We'll watch the Atlanta-St. Louis game, which starts in about 10 minutes in St. Louis. Later on, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates wrapping up that series out west against San Francisco. And we'll wonder how the Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks will do after playing a whopping 18 innings, 7 hours plus last night in Philadelphia. Did you see all that?
Yeah, well, I didn't see all of it. I saw some of the highlights, which of course included some position players coming in to pitch in that ball game.
Yeah, 2 Phillies pitchers were everyday players.
Where's Wilson Valdez when they needed him?
He pitched in that. Wasn't that was a 17-inning game, wasn't it? Or was that an 18-inning game in Philly?
I think it was 18.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like 28.
I remember that.
He went through the heart of the Reds' order, ended up getting the win in that ball game. The Diamondbacks ended up running their record, I think, in extra inning games down to, what, 14-5.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible.
Ramirez reaches for that, and it'll be caught by Cozart in shallow left field, putting an end to the top of the third. Up come the Reds in the bottom half, down by a pair. Classic at Belterra Casino Resort, benefiting the Reds Community Fund, coming up September the 8th and the 9th. The 2-day event includes a Sunday night Jeff Ruby dinner, entertainment, and more than 50 celebrity guests, including former Reds players. For more information, call 513-765-7240 or log on to reds.com/Marty Golf. 2-0 Brewers in front. We go to the bottom of the third. Zach Cozart, we featured him in the open today, swinging a very hot bat as of late. 4 for 8 in this series, 7 for 20 during the homestand, up to 243 overall with 10 homers, 47 driven in. Reynolds on deck, then the top of the order. Down 2-0 to the Brewers and Marco Estrada. Cozart was a sub 200 hitter against the Brewers this year until these two games in which he has shown very well. He's up to 235 now against Milwaukee this year with a home run. That came yesterday. Trying to get on to start the bottom of the third and allow Reynolds the opportunity to move him along with a bunt. Full count. The Reds after today, a 6-game road trip that begins tomorrow in St. Louis. An opponent that the Reds have not played well against for the last number of years. This year, no exception. Cozart hits this ball hard to left center field, but Davis is there, and he has it for the first out. So Reynolds will bat with one man gone.
One thing Estrada has shown today is what he's done pretty much all year long. He has gotten out there with games and gotten hit around a little bit, but rarely does he walk himself into problems. And he seems to have pretty good control of his fastball today. Reds are hitting him, but they're just missing the sweet spot. Only one strikeout through the first almost 3 innings now.
So here's Greg Reynolds. Pair of plate appearances in that game against San Francisco back on July the 23rd. A strikeout and a sacrifice bunt. Career wise, he has 4 big league hits. Now Estrada has set down 5 in a row since the walk to Votto back in the first. Three pitches. Reynolds takes his seat, and there are 2 out. Reminder, coming up later in the broadcast this afternoon, our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. So here now is Chu. Single in the right. Lead off the Reds first. Stole second, stole third. His first multi-stolen base game of the year for him. 8th of his career. Trying to get it started here with 2 out in the third. So the Reds have played 4 series against the Cardinals this year. 2 in St. Louis, 2 here, and have gone 1-2 in each of those series. So they're 4-8 on the year, with 7 remaining against St. Louis, the first of which is tomorrow night over there. And after that series in Colorado, the Reds return home and have the Cardinals for 4. So they'll play them 7 times in the next 10 games starting tomorrow. Same type of thing they'll do with the Pirates at the end of the year. Play 3 over there, then come home and have the Mets here and the Pirates here. So 6 of the last 9 games are against Pittsburgh. Full count to Chu with 2 out. Chu strikes out, 2 of them in the inning for Estrada, 3 in the game, and we are through 3 here at Great American Ballpark. The leadoff single by Chu in inning number 1.
Yeah, not many home run balls going on this year, as you can tell. Now, this is a projection through 80 ball games this year at Great American Ballpark. And you can see that in the history of the ballpark, it will be one of the lowest. 2010, very low, but 2013, I mean, you're almost 20 off the pace of the highest. So I don't know whether the pitching has gotten better this year or what. Of course, only 80 games this year, Jim. They played that home game out in San Francisco.
Gomez leads it off here in the 4th. He'll be followed by Davis and Gindel. Greg looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of this game if he can get it. Way up there off the bat of Gomez, but going to be handled by Paul out in left. So the leadoff man is out. Take a look at our AT&T trivia question of the game. Which two players hold the opponent's record for most home runs in a season here at Great American Ballpark? Which two players hold the opponent's record for most home runs in a season here at GABP? Davis flying out to center his first time. Davis a 10-game hitting streak as he stands in there. Big cut, and it's 2-1. Hitting so well up here is Davis, yet he hit only .255 in 69 games at AAA Nashville this year. Reynolds will throw his 60th pitch here on a 3-1 now to Chris Davis.
Now, the one thing that Greg Reynolds can do, I mean, he's not overpowering, but on a 3-1 count, he can throw a fastball and have really good movement on it. He started that inner third, and by the time it got to Chris Davis, it was off the plate on his hands. So he's really learned how to manipulate, put some finger pressure on the baseball, and get that baby to run for him. Needed another good pitch right here. He shook off the slider to go with the fastball.
Greg Reynolds won his first big league game. He only has 5 career wins in the major leagues, but that first one came against the Milwaukee Brewers back in 2008. Came in a 3-2 win in which he went 6 innings and allowed only 2 runs against Milwaukee. That was as a Colorado Rocky. Making career start number 18 today in the major leagues. Reynolds. Davis hanging around here with 1 out in the 4th.
Yeah, this is the other part of the, I guess, the offensive package from Chris Davis that you are very impressed with. He's just not one of these guys that's up there hacking with great bat speed. He has shown a number of times to hang in there and spoil some pretty good pitches. Sometimes unusual for a young player.
And another one. Tenth pitch now, the AB upcoming. 5 straight foul balls by Davis. Right center field. He's hit the ball out there a lot since we've seen him, and that's going to go for extra bases. There goes Chris Davis standing into second with a double. Hitting streak continues for the young left fielder, now at 11 games.
Well, you really wonder how it happens, though. A kid who really goes down to AAA, he struggles, he comes up to the major leagues, and all of a sudden he's hitting over 400. Got a, what, 11-game hitting streak now under his belt? That's a good stroke. A 10-pitch at bat before he gets a pitch that he can put into the right center field gap.
So now it's Caleb Gindel responsible for the 2 runs of this game and that booming home run he hit back in the second.
Yeah, the first time up they tried to pitch him inside and made a mistake, and that's where he got the home run. This time it looks like they're going to try to make him extend his arms. He doesn't look like, just from body type, he doesn't have very, very long arms, so he's probably one of these kids that might be tough to get in on, at least in on for a strike. That's a pitch you make him hit right there.
Davis out at second with 1 out. Caleb Gindel, only 24 years old, 5th round pick back in 07 by Milwaukee. This year down at AAA, hit .295 with the Nashville club with 11 home runs, drove in 51. His 3rd straight year playing at the AAA level this year for Gindel. Cozart under this ball for out number 2. So here's Juan Francisco sauntering to the plate. One out, double to right center by Chris Davis. Pop up by Gindel. Now Francisco, a strikeout victim his first time. Francisco now 3 for 29 against the Reds this year. Going to walk him to face the pitcher. Reds trying to wrap up a stretch of 19 games in between playing St. Louis. Remember, they had that series here in early August where they lost 2 out of 3, but in those 2 games they lost, they just got pounded by the Cardinals. 19 games between series against St. Louis, and they've done very well. Gone 13-5 in 18, with this one still here today to play. So they've put themselves back in position, challenge for the top spot in the division. Here's Estrada with 2 on, 2 out.
Well, you got to be hacking at that first pitch, don't you? If you're the pitcher, they just walk the guy to get to you, and they give you a first pitch fastball right down Broadway. What is he waiting for, the breaking ball? I guess he was.
Cozart steps on the bag. Francisco's out at second, and hang a 0 in the fourth by Reynolds against the Brewers. Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the JTM Food Group, let's create great dishes together. Beautiful day to be doing just about anything outside this Sunday afternoon, August the 25th, including boating on the river right outside Great American Ballpark. Fox Sports is proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine, one of this year's Fox Sports supports charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like multiple sclerosis and lupus. Join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. Into the bottom of the fourth we go. Those young Reds fans looking for an offensive uprising here against Marco Estrada. One hit, one walk, 2 base runners. That's what the Reds have had so far today. Frazier leads it off. There goes the bat for the second time in this game out of the hands of Frazier.
I think somebody slipped Vaseline into the pine tar.
And it's only affecting Big Todd.
Well, good effort, but short of the record.
Way off the line. Luckily, it stayed on the field.
You can try some good old-fashioned dirt.
When in doubt, use dirt. Votto to follow, then Phillips here in the bottom of 4. Playable at first. And caught by Francisco. 1 out. Reds and Fox Sports Ohio like to send out some happy birthday wishes today. Let's start with Jake Allen of Miamisburg, turning 91 today, at home watching the broadcast of the Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers. 91 today. Jake Allen. And Betty Milligan, Hebron, Ohio, turns 84 today. Happy birthday, Jake. Happy birthday, Betty. Francisco out, 3 unassisted, 2 quick outs.
Well, 3 pitches, 2 outs for Marco Estrada in this inning. He's made it look awfully easier. And you wonder now, Brandon Phillips is going to be going up there hacking at the first pitch. A lot of times he goes up there and takes a big cut at the first one he sees. Hit the ball very hard his first time up.
It was his line drive in the center back in the first that led to that crazy play, but in the end had Chu tagged out at the plate. No crazy swing there by Brandon.
The Little League action right there. He may be getting a talking to. I don't know if it's by Luke Croy or even maybe Ted Barrett saying, what is that? They do that in Williamsport, not here in Great American Ballpark. I mean, you probably did that growing up in Little League, didn't you? On a 3-0 count, and you squat down and kind of fake a bunt and pull it back and thinking the pitcher's going to walk you.
I watched my teammates do it from the bench.
Awfully good hitter with 2 strikes on him.
You and Ted Barrett could do a tech talk on that play. He touches the ball like that, he was out of the box. He'd be out. Because he was taking all the way.
No.
You got to do more of those with Ted next spring?
I hope so. That umpire series we did, I think we ran it the entire month of June, made it rules month. And we got great reviews from that.
You could do a season's worth of them with him and never run out of stuff.
And yeah, and still not cover all the obscure rules and interpretations.
And they'd still be very interesting. Off speed sends Phillips to the dugout via the strikeout. That is 4 of them today by Marco Estrada, who has now set down 10 Reds in a row.
Afternoon baseball. Jim Day with you. We've talked the past couple of days about Cincinnati ballet dancer Servilio Miguel Amador. On Friday, he played catch with Aroldis Chapman. He's a fellow Cuban, and today is Cincinnati Ballet Day at Great American Ballpark. So it was all working up to today's first pitch. And have you ever seen this? The double pirouette first pitch. A little bit high, but it was caught. So what do you think, Jim Kelch and Chris Welsh? Besides being a balk, we ever going to see that in a real game? I would think not.
That was quite entertaining indeed. And the dance afterwards, yes. I don't know that he stayed in contact with the pitching rubber throughout all that, so he may not get away with that more than one time. What I really would like to see, Jim Day, is you pull that off.
I could probably get around maybe a half turn at my age and weight now. So my back would be to the batter. That would not be good.
Before you crumble to the ground.
Correct.
A mess of humanity.
Correct.
Gotcha.
How would you compare that first pitch to Mark Mallory's first pitch, the mayor of Cincinnati, when he threw the first pitch here?
Well, now, since I wasn't here to see that and you were, why don't you expound on that?
I was hoping that Jim Day was still on. He was here. He was around back in the day.
Well, I would say that today's was a success, and we love the mayor, but that was a brutal failure.
Not just a failure.
Always, you know, you're always going to be compared to that first pitch. The John Browdy first pitch, also memorable. Well, somewhat, if you're John Browdy, remember it. First pitches are fun, especially when, you know, he came out a few days ago and warmed up.
Right. Friday.
Servilio did, yeah.
Well, we've seen him do Aroldis Chapman's thing in throwing the baseball. Now we need to see Chapman do his thing, which is to say the ballet. Well, would you bring that up when you're down there talking with him after the game?
They do that.
Ripped to center by Jeanette. Chu is going to run it down. Boy, he got all of that. Not quite enough to get it out of the ballpark. Here's what you're talking about, Chris.
That was like the no-look first pitch. You know, like a no-look pass in basketball. You know, the key to the first pitch, and it's not as easy as it appears. Well, maybe it's almost... I forget was that Bob Davidson that threw him out of there? That was kind of funny. But the key to the first pitch is actually warming up a little bit somewhere beforehand.
Right.
And you can do it in the runway. Sometimes you can do it down, you know, with the batting cages underneath if you think ahead enough to do that. And then the second part of it is to make sure you throw it easy. Throw it with a little bit of a lob and a little arc to it, and let the catcher catch it on a fly. The last thing you want to do is short hop somebody.
Frazier throws out Segura. 2 men out.
Especially somebody on deck circle.
You know, the mayor there looked like I've heard you and the Cowboy both talk about. He just hung on to that thing a little too long and yanked it.
Well, you know, maybe he just put his fingers on the sticky side of the ball instead of on the wet side of the ball.
Well, you shouldn't have given him one of the balls that you like to use then.
Comes with directions.
They disintegrate, though, after you listen to him 5 seconds later.
Exactly.
First time now that Reynolds has retired the first 2 in an inning, so he goes for his first 1, 2, 3 frame here. If he can get by Jonathan Lucroy. 2-0 Milwaukee, top of the 5th. Wrap up of this series. Milwaukee won here on Friday 6-4. Reds bounced back last night 6-3 winners. Votto dives, no. Phillips dives, no. Neither can get it, and it rolls on into right for a 2-out single. Good news from St. Louis. Atlanta's jumped in front. They've scored 3, 1 in the first, 2 in the second. Still batting in the top of the second, leading 3-0. One of the runs scored on a base hit by the former Red Paul Janisch. Lance Lynn against Mike Minor in that game, and Lance Lynn, who has really not been pitching well at all for that team, has given up 3 runs in an inning and 2/3, 5 hits. Here's Ramirez, who's grounded out and popped up. He's 0 for 2 in the series, 2 for 9. Reynolds now at 86 pitches. His spot due up fifth in the fifth. Hard into left field. Paul is there, and the inning is over. So nice job by Greg Reynolds. He's given up 2 runs on 5 hits in this game thus far. Reds down by a couple. Through the 8th here at Great American Ballpark. Kick off your weekend on Friday night, September the 6th, when the Reds take on the Dodgers. Plus, stick around for a post-game fireworks show featuring a Big Red Machine 70s soundtrack, thanks to Corson Fire and Security. For tickets to this big weekend, you can call 513-381-REDS. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can log on to reds.com/tickets. Along with Chris Welsh, Jim Kelch here at Great American Ballpark, bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Milwaukee. Reds had a great scoring chance in the first, but since that time have been set down 10 in a row by Marco Estrada. In fact, the Reds have only hit 4 balls out of the infield in the first 4 innings of this game. Bruce leads it off. Called out on strikes his first time. Bruce came into this game with a lot of success against Estrada, 6 for 14 with 4 home runs. Good crack on that, but foul ball. And a long drought for Bruce in terms of home runs. He's gone 15 straight games that he has played without a home run. Remember, he didn't hit his first one this year until the 21st game of the year. I guess if he's going to hit one out, this is the team to do it against. He has hit 24 against them, the most against any opponent. And for the second time in this game, the Reds right fielder down on strikes. 5 of them now by Estrada.
Now, we said at the very beginning of the ball game, you're not really sure what you're going to get out of Estrada. He got knocked around by the Cardinals badly his last time out. 2 starts previous to that, he pitched very well. So he's been on again, off again, forced into a starting rotation role this year because of some injuries. Had 24 starts last year. And he's got just enough to get you off balance, just enough fastball to get it by Jay Bruce upstairs, just good enough changeup to work it on the corners.
The good split that was up there that we really haven't talked much about. His home away split, pronounced difference. 7.43 at home, a 2.88 on the road.
A lot of people think that Milwaukee's a great place to pitch. It's actually a good hitter's ballpark. The ball really goes there.
Rocco chipped his bat. You could see a piece of that going out toward third base. The ball had some funny spin on it.
Of course, the chip bat syndrome comes from the time in which the baseball allowed hitters to scoop the end of the bat out. They take about a ½ ounce of weight out of the end of the bat. They scoop out a little bit of the wood there, and you see that scoop effect. And the ball hits it right on the end right there. You're going to get a split. With the old bats, if the bat is rounded at the end, there's no way it's going to split. If you get it on the end, you just kind of cue that ball out like a little cue ball.
So they outlawed that.
No, it's still there. Not all bats are cupped.
Xavier Paul waits on deck. Only 1 Reds hit. That was by Chu to start this game for Cincinnati in the bottom of the first. Mesoraco, like Bruce, like Phillips before him, strikes out. So 3 Ks in a row by Estrada. Well, it's the last day of this Reds win, you win promotion. With each Reds win from this week against the Diamondbacks and the Brewers, fans get $4 off field box seats for the upcoming Cardinals-Reds series. That's September the 2nd through the 5th. And the Reds have already won 4 games this homestand. That's $16 off so far. Remember to get your tickets today. Pack the park. That offer is subject to availability. Season high strikeout number for Estrada is 8. That was in a season debut on the 2nd of April in Milwaukee against Colorado. He has struck out 6 here today. And Paul down 2 strikes. And Paul strikes out. So Estrada strikes out the side. He has fanned 4 in a row, 7 in the game. Players hold the opponent's record for most home runs in a season here at Great American Ballpark. One's a former Brewer. That's Jeff Jenkins. 6 of them in 2003. Lance Berkman the next year. Berkman I figured, Jenkins I couldn't get. Talked a lot over the years about Berkman's prowess in this ballpark. Couple of left-handed hitters.
Yeah, not only did Bergman hit for home runs, he hit clutch, he hit balls off the wall. He was a tough guy. I mean, Jenkins would hit some clutch home runs as well. A thorn in the side with the Brewers. This year's version is Chris Davis.
He'll be due up second in this inning. Gomez leads it off against Greg Reynolds into his 6th inning of work. 88 pitches thus far through 5. Gomez in this game hit by a pitch and was on when Caleb Gindel hit the ball out of the ballpark into the moon deck out in right field back in the 2nd. The only runs of this game. And Gomez flied out in the 4th. So he's 1 for 8 in this series.
Well, there it is again. You get a 2-0 pitch. It calls for a fastball. He throws a fastball, but he takes just a little bit off of it and has enough sink on it that Gomez, pretty good fastball hitter, rolls right over the top of it. 2-1 count anyway.
Reynolds trying to get the leadoff man for the 4th straight inning. He gave up a leadoff hit in this game to Jeanette. Hit Gomez to start the 2nd. He's gotten the leadoff man the last 3 innings.
And it's got enough run on it, that fastball does. It's very difficult to keep fair when you start it middle or inner third. Just runs right in on the right-hander unless you really have an effort where you like keep your hands inside the ball. You try to hit it to right field, you're going to hook it foul. Told you that Reynolds did his college work at Stanford. Yeah, that makes the last 2 pitchers that the Reds have made active on their roster. Nick Christiani from Vanderbilt and Greg Reynolds from Stanford. They're raising the academic bar around here, aren't they?
Thinking man's pitchers. Hit hard towards center. Chu to his left, and Chu gets there. Now the batter is Chris Davis with a K. Which Chris Davis would you rather have in your lineup? Here's Chris with a K.
Now this is from July the 23rd. Of course, Chris Davis leading the world and everybody else in home runs this year. But those are impressive numbers. The young Chris Davis on the left from Milwaukee has done to keep pace with major league leader home run hitter Chris Davis from Baltimore.
One an infielder, one an outfielder. Big time year certainly for Baltimore's Chris Davis. Popped up. Bono makes the play, so 2 out. Second inning in a row now that Reynolds has the opportunity for a 1-2-3 inning. Gindel popped up as last time. 98 pitches now for Greg Reynolds. He's due up second in the bottom of the 6th inning. Most pitches Greg Reynolds threw in a start at Louisville this year was 113. He's thrown 100 here now. Right at Phillips. This will be the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for Greg Reynolds. Middle of the 6th inning here at Great American Ballpark. 2-0 Brewers.
Spice is Marco Estrada. He gets Brandon Phillips on a changeup. He does it with a fastball against Jay Bruce. He gets Mesoraco and Xavier Paul to finish it out. And who would have thought at the very beginning of the ball game we'd be looking at Marco Estrada right now, bottom of the 6th inning, having given up 1 hit, struck out 7, and really throttling this Reds offense. But that is our Head and Shoulders whiff of the day, brought to you by Head and Shoulders with a hint of Old Spice.
Now 13 in a row set down by Estrada as he works to Cozart to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. Chris Heisey is on deck, so Greg Reynolds will be finished after 6 innings and 101 pitches.
Tell you what, this is the kind of game that you can kind of sleepwalk your offense through, and I'm not implying at all that the Reds aren't trying, but you know, all of a sudden you're going to look up, it's going to be in the 9th inning, and you're going to need a couple of runs, and you're going to be struggling for it. And Estrada has almost lulled this team to sleep with, you know, fastballs at 90, slow curveballs, a well-placed changeup. Reds aren't really taking bad at bats. They haven't really seen too many bad swings. A couple guys have, but got to figure out a way to get a couple of guys on base here.
You know, it reminds you of that game a couple of weeks ago here against San Diego. Reds trailed 2-0. Stayed that way until Paul hit that 2-run pinch hit homer in the 8th, and then
that was the Ian Kennedy game, right?
Sure was. That one went 13. Reds won it on a sac fly by Votto. 3-2 to Cozart. And a fifth consecutive strikeout for Marco Estrada, who has tied his season high.
God, he's got his off-speed stuff really working. Curveball's working well. The changeup is the pitch that's really going great for him. You look at that little hit chart right there of the strike zone, our Fox Tracks chart. It didn't look like he threw very many strikes at all in that particular at bat.
Now Heisey will bat for Greg Reynolds. Heisey at .230, 8 homers. He's driven in 20. He's 2 for 11 as a pinch hitter. Solo homer in the 5th inning last night. Game against Willie Peralta. And the Reds are just swinging and missing time after time here this afternoon against Marco Estrada. Estrada's career high in strikeouts is against the Reds here in this ballpark last June when he fanned a dozen. And he has struck out 8 now, including 5 in a row. 6 in a row.
Wow.
Nine now in the game for Estrada. Manny Parra has been throwing in the Reds bullpen. 2 bats with 2 out, nobody on. Reds a swung and miss. This is a Joel Luckup stat. 16 times swings and misses today against Estrada pitches. By comparison, the Brewers swung and missed only 5 times against Reynolds. He's retired 15 Reds in a row since he walked Votto in the first. And that streak comes to an end here as Chu reaches on a 2-out walk. Now Frazier will try to get it done here. He's flied out and he's popped up. Three base runners today is all the Reds have had. Constantly that changeup we're seeing.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's selling it like a fastball because we've seen some bad swings. That's a bad one right there by Todd Frazier, but he's not the only one. I mean, he's just got just enough fastball that he sells that changeup, which has got a big spread as far as his speed in. It's at least 10 miles an hour. Has a little downward action on it. Big overhand looping curveball.
Now, for the first time today, Jonathan Lucroy will jog to the mound to talk with Marco Estrada.
Well, the last time they had a conversation was right after that walk that he had to chew. Didn't have to walk to the mound to do that, but
Votto waiting on deck.
you got to figure if you're Todd Frazier, 2 outs, 2-1 count. He's got to be coming after me. Does not want to pitch to Votto. Change up again. Well, I'll tell you what. That is the pitch to learn if you're a young pitcher.
That's the pitch you teach when those youngsters come out to your camps?
Absolutely. I thought it's very interesting. Read recently and also heard it verified by somebody who's been down there that Joe Madden has completely changed the Tampa Bay Rays minor league pitching system, that you don't get out of Double-A unless you throw a changeup, and a good one. And they're bringing kids up now out of the minor leagues into major leagues, which is cartoon type changeups, and you know, it takes a few years to figure it out, because a lot of times the kids that get drafted, they get drafted because they've got a great arm.
Sure.
And then the first thing they learn is a hard slider, and you know, they don't learn that changeup. Boy, but if here's a guy throwing, you know, topping out at 90 and 91, and he struck out 9 on the day, throwing a one-hitter, all with that changeup, really.
Chu on the move again as Frazier pops it up. Segura handles it, battling the sun all the way, but he makes the catch, and the Reds are down in the 6th inning. The St. Louis Cardinals in a 4-game series. Monday the 2nd, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Reds Stein presented by PNC Bank. Pack the park for this National League Central Division Showdown September 2nd through the 5th. If you'd like to get tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or simply log on to reds.com/tickets. Nice looking Stein right there indeed. All right, new pitcher on for the Reds, lefty Manny Parra.
Well, he's been so dependable for the Reds every time, it seems like, recently anyway, over the last couple of months, that Manny Parra is calling out of the bullpen. He is there. Earned run average has come down. The strikeouts per walks. Look at that, 45 strikeouts, only 10 bases on balls. The former Brewer will face his former team here, and you know, first time he did that, he went back to Milwaukee a couple of road trips ago, and it was a lot of emotions for him. Very difficult to kind of adapt, but now he told me the other day it's just like facing another ball club, and he has been a key guy to this bullpen. They need him right here, down 2-zip.
Francisco's scheduled to be up. Yuniesky Betancourt comes out and he'll pinch hit to lead off inning number 7. Parr's made 3 appearances against the Brewers this year, covering 2 1/3 innings, allowing no runs, 1 hit. So he's done pretty well indeed, as Chris mentioned, against his old team. Base hit for the pinch hitter Betancourt to start inning number 7. Betancourt had appeared in the game last night as a pinch hitter in the 9th, blown away by Aroldis Chapman, but he gets the pinch hit single here. Now Marco Estrada. Four sacrifices to his credit this year. Final line on Red starter Greg Reynolds. 2 runs, both earned, 5 hits in 6 innings. A couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts. Hit a batter, gave up the home run ball. 101 pitches.
You know, I can't remember the last time I've seen this, where the number 8 hitter is pinch hit for. The number 9 hitter, the pitcher, the starting pitcher, stays in the game. Normally it's the other way around. But Estrada's pitching so well, Ron Renicky doesn't want to upset that part of the game. And he gets a base hit out of Betancourt, so here's a chance to run him, move him over to second. Frazier really giving him something to think about, coming in hard at third.
As Rocco will pick that ball up and throw on out to first base.
Well, that's a pretty good bunt by Estrada. I mean, Todd Frazier was just about close enough to smell his breath when that ball was finally delivered to the plate, and he only could do it down the right field line. Then he gets it right down here, where if he makes Votto or the catcher fielded, he's going to get a sacrifice.
5th sacrifice of the year for Estrada. Now the Brewers are in a position to add to their 2-0 lead. Scooter Gennett 1 for 3. Hit the ball right on the nose, but out at the center fielder Chu his last time. 2-run homer by Caleb Gindel in the top of the 2nd. The only runs of this game put up by the Brewers. Phillips will throw Gennett out. The runner moves up. The opportunity now rests on the shoulders of Gene Segura. Make sure you're ready for Reds baseball action. That's 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live here on Fox Sports Ohio. FSO, your exclusive home of Reds baseball. Reds Live pregame presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And another one tomorrow night from St. Louis when the Reds take on the Cardinals. Game time over there tomorrow is 7:05 Eastern. That means 6:30 tomorrow with Reds Live. Pitching change for the Reds. Sam LeCure is in. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. the game. Go back a few days to Thursday against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the wrap-up of that series, Sam LeCure on the mound, replacing Matt Latos. This ground ball by Kubel to Phillips ended it, and yes, in his 156th Major League appearance, 146th out of the bullpen, Sam LeCure gets his first big league save right there, and that's our John Morrell hot dog play of the game.
Well, we congratulated Sam for that. He needs another good outing right here. You've got an extra runner at third base. Could make this a 3-0 ball game, and 1 out to get out of this inning. Tough Gene Segura at the plate.
First pitch and a base hit in the left.
Hung a breaking ball. Sam likes to throw that first pitch breaking ball. Normally that pitch is down. And one thing that he does not like to do is give up other pitchers runs. And you can see where he just left that ball above the waist. Segura, a very good high ball hitter. That's a big run there because it takes away the old bloop and a blast rally to tie this game up.
It's only the second runner in 23 inherited runners this year that has scored against Sam LeCure. Now it's Jonathan Lucroy. 3-0 Milwaukee here in the 7th. Run charge to Manny Parra. 1 run, 1 hit, 2/3 of an inning. Thrown out trying to steal second earlier by Mesoraco. That was back in the 3rd inning.
And this is the kind of situation that you think that he would be going on. You got 2 outs. You're trying to play a little add-on right here. You have nothing to lose by sending Segura. Pretty much of a singles hitter at the plate, although Lucroy has 17 homers. But he's not a 40 homer a year guy. But he is a high batting average hitter, up around 290. So Segura can think he gets a good break right here. You put yourself in scoring position. You add another one on with a little cheap hit, and that's why you play aggressively. Although Segura, when he's taking his lead, he doesn't really give you the impression he's taking a serious lead at all. He dove back that time because he wasn't really paying attention. And when a guy takes a lead where he's kind of hunkered down a little bit, taking kind of a shuffle lead, that gives you a little bit more indication. But he's not even measuring his lead off right now. Now he's a little bit more of a running spot.
He shuffled off there and got a lead, but LeCure gets the ground ball to the shortstop, and LaCroix is out. So the inning comes to an end, but the Brewers get another run. They lead 3-0. Stretch time at Great American Ballpark. We'll keep it right here for God Bless America.
Gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please stand, kindly remove your hats, and face the American flag.
game summary. Scoring started in the top of the second. Greg Reynolds got that one in a good hitting zone for Caleb Gindel. Launched it into the sun deck out in right center for his second home run of this series. Made it 2-0 Brewers. They had a run then in the seventh against Sam LeCure. First pitch single by Gene Segura. Scored Betancourt. Gave the Brewers a 3-0 lead. From a pitching standpoint, it's been all Marco Estrada, the 30-year-old native of Mexico. At walk 2, he has struck out 9. At one point, he struck out 6 in a row. At one point, he retired 15 in a row. And he's back to the mound here for the bottom of the 7th inning with a 3-0 lead. That's today's Honda game summary. Joey Votto leads it off. Yuniesky Betancourt at first base now for Milwaukee. At pinch hit for Juan Francisco.
There's that changeup again.
Segura handles it for out number 1.
I'll tell you that he just sells it like a fastball, and has been his pitch all afternoon. He whips his arm through like a fastball. It comes in about 10 miles an hour less, and he's had the Reds swinging and missing. He's had them popping up. In fact, he's thrown 37 changeups so far in this ball game, and he's yet to throw his 93rd pitch. So it's almost 40% of the pitches he's thrown have been that changeup. 18 swings, 4 fouls, and 12 misses, swings and misses on that changeup. In fact, that's only the second time that he's thrown a changeup that the Reds put the ball in play. Both of them pop-ups, one by Frazier, one by Votto.
Now Phillips will give it a chance. Estrada has set down 17 of the last 18 Reds. The only one to reach the walk by Chu last inning. Brandon today is lined out, struck out. Had a pretty good homestand, Phillips. 9 for 27, a .333 average with a home run. And the Reds just trying to get on base against this guy. And another swing and a miss. Bruce on deck. Action in both bullpens. Reds have Logan Andrusik up and throwing. Brewers Rob Wooten. And now they've added Michael Gonzalez, the left-hander, as well. Phillips hits it in the air to right center. And Gomez handles it. 2 out. For the Sports and Highlights show you've been waiting for is here. Fox Sports Live with Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole bring you everything you need to know about the world of sports. Fox Sports Live airs nightly on Fox Sports 1, which is available on all TV providers. Go to foxsports1.com to find out what channel Fox Sports 1 is on in your area. Bruce with 2 out. Phillips hits that ball to center field. It's the first ball hit out of the infield by the Reds since Zach Cozart lined out in the 3rd inning. That's how dominant Estrada has been. Bruce out to right. Gindel is there. 5 of them now. 5, 1, 2, 3 innings for the right-hander Estrada. This 2013 season and do it in HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.tv today. MLB.tv, that's baseball everywhere. Reds have been mystified this afternoon by Marco Estrada, who has set down 19 of the last 20, has allowed but 1 hit and 2 walks given to the Reds, so 3 base runners. And trail 3-0 as the Brewers come up here in the 8th. Sam LeCure stays in there. Gets Aramis Ramirez to lead things off. Ramirez today is 0 for 3. Couple of hits in the series and 10 ABs. Carlos Gomez on deck, then Chris Davis. LeCure, the 3rd Reds pitcher. Greg Reynolds right now on the hook for the loss, although it was a quality start for him. 2 runs, 5 hits in 6 innings. Reds got everything out of him they could have hoped for, really.
Yeah, you're right about that. He didn't look anywhere near nervous like he was his last time out, understandably. But I mean, if you pull up an emergency starter and he gives you 6 innings of 2-run baseball, heck, you take that out of your ace in a big game.
Atlanta still leading at St. Louis 3-0 now in the bottom of the 5th. This Milwaukee team off to Pittsburgh after this game, and they'll start a 3-game series there. Reds, of course, off to St. Louis. Start of a 6-game road trip. 3 in St. Louis. Off day Thursday, 3 in Colorado. Ball 3. To right field, Bruce will drift back, and he makes the catch. So Ramirez is gone. First out here in the 8th. Here's Carlos Gomez. Hit by a pitch back in the 2nd on board in front of the Gindel home run. Sends his fly out and lined out. So he's in the series, 1 hit, 9 at bats.
Well, Gomez having his best major league season. You see a career high 284. 18 home runs is one off his major league pace that he set last year is high. But his OPS is bigger than ever, and they were happy about this kid, even though he's 28 years old. Not really a kid, but at least by baseball standards. Came up with the Mets, played a couple of years with the Minnesota Twins, and now he's in his 4th season as a Brewer.
Sam LeCure trying to keep the status quo going here. A 3-0 deficit. Brewers have out hit the Reds 7-1. They only went down in order one time. That was in the 6th inning by Greg Reynolds. These two teams after today have one more series remaining. That'll be in Milwaukee, September 13th through the 15th, Friday through Sunday. Down the left field side, Heisey, who stayed in the game in left, replacing Paul, runs out of room. And he got it.
Well, so far so good for the Reds bullpen. The off-speed pitch of his own right there, and Sam LeCure spins that baby up there. Has Gomez coming up empty.
The 2 out for Chris Davis. Double to his credit so far today, 1 for 3. That was back in the 4th. LeCure trying to set the side down in order.
You know, one thing I've noticed about Devin Mesoraco behind the plate more and more, he's become smaller. I mean, a smaller overall spot behind the plate, giving the umpire a really good look at home plate and kind of emphasizing to the pitcher where he wants it. I mean, look how low he gets right there. I mean, he's a big guy too. I mean, you stand next to him, he's a big, broad-shouldered guy, and sometimes it's tough to be small back there, but you want to give the umpire as much look at that strike zone as possible.
We've talked about it before that Mesoraco, if you take a look at his professional numbers, it's always the second year at the same level where he has really blossomed. Say that same thing with him this year at the big leagues. Trying to put Davis away here and send this game into the bottom of the 8th, down 3-0 is Sam LeCure.
Well, now he and Mesoraco, Sam and Mesoraco, trying to figure out what to throw right here. LeCure's called off a couple of pitches that Mesoraco's dropped down there for him. Had Davis looking really bad on that curveball, but you're wondering if you can come back with that one more time and fool him like that again.
Solid contact into center, and luckily right at Chu. So Davis is gone. Brewers go in order. Middle of the 8th, 3-0 Milwaukee. Of the game brought to you by Miller Lite. How about a big old tip of the Reds cap to Reds fans who today 33,743 strong, surpassed the 2 million mark in attendance, the quickest of any year here at Great American Ballpark. It takes them 64 dates in 2013 to surpass 2 million, the quickest they've ever done it in this ballpark. Attendance right now 2,021,220, 64 home dates thus far. A big old tip of the Reds cap to all you folks who come out here all season long.
You're not kidding about that. A lot of fun nights and fun afternoons spent at the ballpark this year, and many, many more to come here in the month of September.
Well, let's hope the luck of the Reds can change right here, Chris Welsh, because the new pitcher is on, Brandon Kinsler.
Well, last time Ron Renicky went to the bullpen and brought a new pitcher, and he did in the 6th inning last night. First guy he faced, home run. Went to a different pitcher in the 7th. First time he faced, home run. So maybe Brandon Kinsler will be snake bit like those two other relievers. He's been pretty good, though, for the Brewers.
Devin Mesoraco leads it off.
Fastball, slider, changeup, pretty much the same repertoire that the starter Marco Estrada dropped on the Reds, and he was awfully good. 1 hit through 7.
Here's the new left fielder, Logan Schaefer, replacing Chris Davis. Mesoraco 0 for 2. Seven innings of no run, 1 hit baseball for Estrada. He walked 2. He struck out 9 in the game. Estrada threw exactly 100 pitches. Kinsler appeared here on Friday night. Gave up a run on 2 hits. Ryan Ludwig waits on deck. A little bat for LeCure. Logan Ondrusek throwing in the bullpen. Base hit. First hit since Chu in the 1st inning for the Reds. Mesoraco, solid contact in the center. Let's see if this is the start of something good for the Reds here in the bottom of the 8th.
Now, Mesoraco just kind of went out to get that ball, just trying to keep it in play. And he gets a fastball, and he just takes it right back through the box. So Reds have a chance to do something right here. That's been a while since they've had a runner at first base, especially via a base hit.
Well, Ludwig last night, his first home run of the year. Big blast for him. It came as a solo shot in the 6th inning against John Axford. It was the start of that 3-run 6th inning. Turned out to be big. He pinch hits here for Sam LeCure. Floats one out to right. That'll drop for a base hit. Boy, Ryan Ludwig this year, since coming back, has 9 hits, 7 of them against Milwaukee. Cozart now represents the tying run here in the bottom of the 8th. Nobody out.
Now, Ron Renicky's got to be figuring what the heck is going on. Same thing happened to his relievers last night. In a very tight ball game, he went out and he brought in John Axford in the 6th inning. He promptly gave up 3 runs. Brought in Mike Gonzalez in the 7th. He promptly gave up 2 runs, and his bullpen showing some leaks right now.
Cozart takes ball 1. There's one. Safe at first. Cozart legged it out. First and third with one out.
Now, that was a key run out right there by Zach Cozart. You run into a double play and it's a rally killer. Here's a Mazda pitch by pitch of this at bat. It's coming down and in. You see he wants to roll over on a ground ball. Same pitch right there. Inside, two-seamer, rolled over on it, got the 5-4, but didn't get the 3 part of that double play. He just booked it down the line thinking, I can't have a double play. And he turns it into a fielder's choice.
Here's Heisey, pinch hit in the 6th inning, struck out. That was against Estrada, stayed in the game. Now bats against Brandon Kinsler. He represents the tying run in a 3-0 game. Milwaukee in the bottom of the 8th.
That's a key pitch to lay off right there for Heisey, because it's the same pitch that he threw twice to Cozart and got him to ground out the 3rd.
That'll get out of play. Heisey comes into the game at .230 with 8 home runs. 20 runs batted in. His 8th home run came last night. Solo in the 5th inning against Peralta. He also had a single, so he was 2 for 5. There's that hitting streak he brings into this game of 6. As Araujo leads away at 3rd. Cozart at first with 1 out.
Well, he just loves to bury that two-seam fastball down and in. I mean, he's a ground ball waiting to happen. His ground ball to fly ball ratio is 76% ground balls. And that's off the charts. I mean, if you're above 50%, they categorize you as a ground ball pitcher. But this guy, you can see why. He just buries that little two-seamer down and in, makes it look good enough that it could be a strike. It's very hard to keep fair. When you do keep it fair, you usually hit it to the 3rd baseman.
We were talking about a pitcher the other day. It was at 66%, off the chart.
Yeah.
This guy's better than that. Got him on strikes. 10th strikeout by Brewers pitching today.
Same pitch every pitch the at bat.
So now it's Choose. 1 for 2 in the game with a walk. As Araujo singled to start the inning. Ludwig pinch hit, singled into right. First and 2nd with nobody out. Goes out into a force play at 2nd. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Heisey fans. Now Chu. 16 home runs on the year for Chu. Kinsler trying to keep the shutout intact. Chu has other ideas here.
Oh, it comes back.
At the lip of that grass, it's not rolling back toward the line.
It had enough spin on it that it had a chance, and Chu realized that about 2 or 3 seconds after he looked down and realized, oh, that ball's a chance to go. He was running down the line with his bat in his hand. Right off the end of the bat, and if it, I mean, it can go all the way in foul territory like this as long as nobody touches it and rolls back over the line or onto the line. Any part of that ball is over the line, it's a fair ball.
Trying to figure out where they want to play Betancourt here. Do they want him to hold the runner or move off? So he's communicating with the Brewer dugout. Oh, 2 to Chu. Got him. Couple of big strikeouts for Kinsler. One of Heisey, one of Chu, with the runners at the corners. Tomorrow night, Mike Leake against Tyler Lyons, Matt Latos against Joe Kelly Tuesday, and then Homer Bailey against Adam Wainwright on Wednesday. All those games here on Fox Sports Ohio. Tomorrow night, a little earlier, 6:30 with Reds Live, 7:10 with the first pitch, 7:05, pardon me, with the first pitch, and then Tuesday, 7:30 Reds Live, both games Tuesday and Wednesday, and 8:15 first pitch both those days. So that's what's upcoming. Reds Cardinals at Busch Stadium beginning tomorrow night. Logan Ondrusek on to work the top of the ninth inning.
He needs to throw a 0 on the board just like the other guys out of this bullpen. This was par for 2/3 of an inning, and then Sam LeCure came in to get one out in the 7th and a 1-2-3/8.
Take a look at our Nissan drive of the game. It occurred back in the 2nd inning. Caleb Gindel hit a pinch hit home run here last night. It's this 2-run blast here. They gave the Brewers a 2-0 lead. They lead 3-0 now into the 9th. That's our Nissan drive of the game.
This kid has not been around very long, but his first major league home run was a game winner in the 13th inning against the Miami Marlins. Probably on a down and in pitch. He said before the game when they told him he was 4 for 9 against the starter Greg Reynolds, I don't remember him. I bet he remembers him now.
Since that home run, he's popped up and grounded out. Playing in right field today in place of Norichika Aoki. Betancourt on deck. He took over for Francisco after pinch hitting in the 7th and stayed in the game at first base. And then the pitcher's spot, and here's a strikeout of Gindel for out number 1.
Running that ball away from him a little bit. Made the comment earlier that Gindel's one of those guys, body type, short arm, probably tough to get inside on. You may want to make him reach for it. And that ball had nice tail from Ondrusek.
Looking ahead to the Reds' 9th, Frazier, Votto, Phillips. You can't ask for a better crew to have up there to try to get it done. Betancourt now, Norichka, Aoki on deck. Over the mound. Picked by Brandon. Nicely done.
Boy, he makes that look so easy, and it's not. I mean, it's one thing to pick it like that, but to be able to throw it on the run, sidearm or nearly submarine style, and right on the money. The other ballparks, when their second baseman makes a play like that, the guy gets a standing ovation.
Yes, indeed.
Here, you're kind of used to it.
Here's Aoki hitting for Kinsler, who worked the eighth, allowed 2 hits, then buckled down, did not allow anything further. Aoki pinch hitting for only the 4th time this year. He's 0 for 3 as a pinch hitter. His numbers overall, 282, 7 home runs, 31 runs batted in, 4 for 8 in this series.
The Reds have played him pretty well. I mean, they've had him pretty much locked down in left field when he gets the ball into the air. Just about all of his hits, except for one, I think, have been to left field.
Now, these two teams split for last weekend in Milwaukee. Reds winning games 1 and 4. The Brewers taking games 2 and 3. Brewers trying to come in here to Cincinnati and win. Now Aoki clipped by that pitch at 1 and 2 from Andrusik, and he's aboard. Top of the order now, Scooter Gennett. Gennett has played second base, started for this Milwaukee club each of the games of this series. Today he has 1 hit and 4 for 10 in the series. Replacing Ricky Weeks, who's out for the year with a torn left hamstring. Got him on 3 pitches. Gennett gone. And we're set up now for the bottom of the 9th. Coming up, Frazier, Votto, Phillips down 3-0. has been brought to you by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, ranking 3rd in the nation in the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals for the 3rd year in a row. And by Chevy. Stop into your Tri-State Chevy dealer today. Check out their full line of fuel-efficient vehicles. Remember to stay with us after the game for Reds Live postgame, brought to you by Fox Sports Ohio and Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. We'll get the first comments from the skipper of the Reds, Dusty Baker. Hopefully, Reds come behind victory here means Jeff McCora will have a guest down on the field as well. Big Jim Henderson takes over to work the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, he pitched a long time in the minor leagues. He signed at age 20. Here he is, 30 years old, but he's in his second major league season. And here he is, the closer. 49 games, 20 saves of 23 opportunities.
He gets Frazier to start the bottom of the ninth. And that'll be out number 1 as Gindel sendles under it. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Well, that is 3 pop-ups, or make it 4 pop-ups really for Frazier. 1 was hit fairly well in the first inning. Everything else has been pretty much a can of corn.
Henderson has had 10 consecutive appearances in which he has recorded a save dating back to July the 24th against San Diego. Has not blown a save since June the 30th at Pittsburgh. First pitch swinging, Votto, high, deep to left center. Reds on the board. Second game in a row. Votto's gone deep. 20th for Joey. 3-1.
Second game in a row that Votto goes deep, but not only that, he goes deep opposite field. Henderson with a first pitch get ahead fastball, and Votto is waiting for it.
Only the 3rd home run that Henderson has given up this year.
He's really stingy with home runs. He gave up 1 last year, so he had his innings up from last year and this year. You're looking at about 78 innings. He's given up 4 total home runs, including that one by Votto. And the pitch was down. You saw where it was, just above the knees. That's where Phillips likes him.
Phillips stays alive. So Frazier flies to right in the first pitch of the inning. Votto goes deep left center field, 20th time this year to get the Reds on the board at 3-1. Homered last night, homers here today, 4th time this year. He's homered in back-to-back games this year. Reds avoid being shut out for the 10th time. Trying to come back against Jim Henderson. In the air to right. Kindle, step in front of the track, has it. 2 out. Now Bruce. Jay in the game 0 for 3, in the series 0 for 7. The homestand 3 for 22. In the month right near the 200 mark. It's been a tough August for Jay Bruce. He tries to keep this one alive. Atlanta now leads 4-1 at St. Louis, 7th inning. Those two teams, the Cardinals and the Pirates, identical marks going into today of 76 and 53. tied for the top spot in the National League Central. The Reds 2.5 back. Bruce laid off that pitch, and Ted Barrett calls it a strike. 0-2.
When you're going bad, that's what happens.
I mean, he just does get a piece of that to hang in there. Henderson trying to save it for Estrada. Never won in this ballpark, Marco Estrada. Trying to hang the loss on Greg Reynolds. Lined into left. Base hit for Bruce. This one not over yet. Nice piece of hitting there by Bruce, who gets the hit.
Really controlled swing by Bruce. Changed his approach with 2 strikes. Decided to make contact, keep it alive. And he gets a breaking ball that just kind of hangs right there for him, but he hits it very late. That's a good stroke.
Now it's Mesoraco. Base hit started the 8th inning. He's 1 for 3 today. He represents the tying run. Well, we didn't even know if we'd be able to say that today, the way the right-hander Estrada had been pitching.
That happened in the 6th inning after a walk.
All 1 low.
I imagine right here that if you're Jim Henderson, you're thinking, all right, this kid's got home run power, no doubt about it, but I'm not going to let him pull one. So many closers think the same way. If you're going to beat me with a home run, you're going to have to hit it the other way.
Play behind Bruce at first. Line to left field. I mean, scalded, but right at Logan Schaefer, the left fielder. Caught out there, and the game is over. The Brewers come into Cincinnati and take 2 out of 3 as they win this afternoon 3-1.
Disappointing series overall, no doubt about it. The Reds got some pretty good pitching in this series. Bronson Arroyo, lights out yesterday. Greg Reynolds did a very nice job today. The hitting just wasn't able to come around and figure out a way to solve Marco Estrada and that changeup of his, and they'll have to get changed, get on the bus, and head to St. Louis for a big 3-game series starting tomorrow.
Yeah, the Brewers win it. Final score 3-1. Reminder, stay with us now. Reds Live postgame presented by Kings Honda is next.